Very good evening, everybody. Nice to have you company wherever you're tuning in, all around Australia, all around the world. On the platforms of SimShed Broadcasting. Welcome to Tuesday Night Motorsport for week 2 of this second V8 Super Series season of 2021. This one, of course, the RSRA Super Series. And tonight we are coming to you from Watkins Glen International in upstate New York. Zach Gabin and Chris Kisby here with you and looking forward to what should be a great night of racing. Kisby, great to have you back on deck for the new season, mate. This is the opening leg of the Triple Crown, of course, by DSL Welding this time round. And after what we saw last week, it looks like Rainer Costello might have a few more challenges chasing him down this year, which is always a good thing for the championship chase.
Good evening, Zach Gabin. Good evening, JP. Good evening to viewers all over the world. Yes, finally back. Missed the last round, missed the first round, but we're back now and getting healthier as the day goes on. What a race, Watkins Glen. Yeah, it's the beginning of the Triple Crown, as you say. And it's good to be back in the commentator's seat alongside you there, Zach.
Yeah, no, great to have you back on deck, of course. We were joking off air that it's the A-team in the house tonight. And, of course, no Matt Davis at the moment, but, of course, he'll be with you anchoring all the action. And I'll be jumping in with him tomorrow night, actually, for the RSRA Super 2 E-Series, and we're looking forward to that as well. Now, last week, plenty of stories to get to out of the opening round from Montreal, Canada. Of course, we stay in North America. We go to Watkins Glen. A lot to be excited about here. Rainer Costello, his 5-race winning streak that took him to the end of season 1 undone last week. However, he is one of the hot shots in the championship because the guy that got the better of him in the championship points race got a 30-point penalty last week. So Rainer's automatically second in the championship, despite the fact that he was third on points leaving Montreal last week. And, of course, that was only by virtue of the fact that the guy that finished third, and we'll get to him in just a moment, copped a 30-point penalty. He had the 5-point bonus for pole position, so he led the championship by 1 point. Now he trails by 29. Dylan Rudd and Rainer Costello will come to Montreal ready to duke it out once more. We cannot wait to see the type of show they put on after what was a cracking round last week. Let's have a look at the championship points now if we can. Coming into this round, there it is. Dylan Rudd, 150 plays. Rainer Costello, 148. You notice the gap then back to Alex Court at 144 points. Then Dean Powell, of course, 140. Dean Reddit, 138. Jordan Pruden, 136. Cameron Jones, 134. 132 for Dylan Pereira. Mitch Campbell, 132. So too Rod Hollis. Over the page. This is where it gets interesting. See the name there? Aaron Dodd, 121. Third across the line last week, 146 points, plus the 5 points for pole position. But then copped a 30-point penalty for impeding during qualifying. That news only filtering through to us after the fact. And he wasn't the only one last week either. Let's have a look at some of the points of interest here. Craig Newell, the 013, he copped a 30-point penalty as well for impeding during qualifying. Tom Heyman copped 15 points and then a DQ. So technically he's on minus 15 coming into this round because he had multiple on-track incidents. And also, I believe, did a burnout in pit lane to finish off the night. So that was the icing on the turd sandwich, unfortunately, as far as round 1 was concerned for Tom Heyman. Dylan Pereira copped a 10-point penalty for an on-track incident. And, of course, we mentioned Craig Newell. He was on DNF last week, so it's not been a good start of the season for him. Jacob Brewer, Kai Turner, Matthew Hill, also retirements in all of that. We had a whopping 38, 39, 40 starters, I think it was, last week. And I'm here to tell you that the field is just as big this time out. 37 cars and the safety car in the server at the moment for this round of the championship from Watkins Glen in upstate New York. Now, on that note, Chris Kisby, I'll get your thoughts on all that in just a moment. Let's have a look at the track map for this round of the series. There it is. It's a 5.47 kilometre circuit, this Watkins Glen boot layout. We are running for 30 laps tonight. 164.1 kilometres is the race distance. The pit lane speed is 72 kilometres an hour. And the fuel restriction here, 52.8 litres, fuel burn 4.08 a lap. So that's going to set it around the 13 lap mark that you'll get those pit stops come in first time round. It will definitely be a two-stop race unless we get a couple of safety cars at the right time and these guys can save a couple of laps of fuel. Two-set tyre limit on these cars tonight as well. So that's the one they start on and the one they have ready up their sleeve in pit lane. 29th of June 2021. 1 o'clock is the start time. However, that's server time, New York, which is 14 hours behind us. And thank goodness we're not here at 3 a.m. on a Wednesday morning, let me tell you. 30 degrees in the air temp. 56 on track, if you don't mind. Wind speed 15 kilometres an hour in a northwesterly direction. Chris Kisby, your thoughts on all of that, please, mate? There's plenty to talk about.
Oh, dear, plenty to talk about on that one. 56 degrees. Wow. The rubber on these tyres is going to be so sticky, and that doesn't mean that they're going to stick to the track. We had a race there the other day with a 45-degree track, and I had so much trouble just keeping it in a straight line. Watkins Glen, the boot track, what a classic. Love this track. I love the undulations. Love the change in elevation, and you've really got to keep your wits about you as you're going around. And one of the better tracks that I do enjoy. We noticed there the short track. You just saw the cones off there. It goes off through there. You usually use that with some of the smaller cars, the Mazdas, the Skippies, and probably the Formula Vs this season as well. But we're doing the boot, so right around the back and then up the hill. Couple of tricky little corners there. This one here is a very tricky little one. If you get onto the accelerator too fast, it will actually kick you right out into that left-hand wall. Rayner, runaway Rayner, look at him, 148.282.
I have to say, Kisby, cracking race between this pair last week. Rayner Costello, Dylan Rudd. Just 0.01 of a second separates them on the grid at this point in time. Now, we've got 1:45 left in qualifying. So if we can go full screen at our end, JP, we might be able to talk everybody through the closing stages of qualifying here, because look at that. Costello, 148.28 and Rudd, 148.29. They've got 14 hundredths of a second then back to Jordan Pruden, who only has 3 hundredths of a second back to Dylan Pereira, who has 8 thousandths of a second back to Rian Leonage, who has 3 tenths back to Tommy Heyman. So less than 3 tenths of a second separates the top 6. Alex Court 7th. Matthew Scholes, Ash Davis, and Brenton Nitschke make up the top 10. It is incredibly tight at the top in qualifying, and let's hope that bodes well for a really good race, Chris Kisby. Some awesome opportunities for overtaking on this circuit.
Well, Zach, how important is the takeoff going to be? I know some guys use the clutch, some guys use the brake, some guys go straight into first. I learnt very recently to pound my brake, put it into first, and then let go there, and you get a good start. But then others use the clutch. So getting off the line at the beginning is going to be so important going down to turn 1. They can go wide in turn 1, but, it's going to be some feat to get around there if they're 3 wide, I tell you.
Yeah, exactly right. We know, having watched, and apologies for the frog in the throat too, ladies and gentlemen, I'm still recovering. I dropped a couple of cylinders commentating Queensland Touring Car Championship action out at Queensland Raceway over the weekend, and still struggling to get the voice back. Not enough strepsils and honey in the meantime. But
heard that went well too, Zach.
It went very well. Great weekend of racing. More on that a little bit later if we get time here. Checkered flag out. Qualifying over. But these guys have still got 2.5 minutes to get back to the line. So if there's any change on the timesheet, we're about to find out. This is huge right here, right now.
Rainer.
So Ford on top at the moment. Let's wait and see if it remains that way. Rayner Costello, I mean, his pole run has been superb. His race run has been superb. I mean, a second last week. A little bit disappointed with that. However, Chris, as I said in the call and as I confirmed with him in the post-race show, the fact of the matter is that he made the comment at the end of the last season that it was the start of his championship that cost him in the end, and it was only 1 point. Let's be very, very clear about that. It was only 1 point that he missed out by. So he's already rewrote the wrongs of the opening season with a very good start here and 148 points in the bank.
Oh, excellent, mate. Yeah, it is. And what Rayner's got to do is put last season out of his head. Okay, this is a new season, a new start. Let's go from the beginning. Do in the front half of the season what he did in the back half of the season last season. And this young kid is just going to run away with it. But by the looks of it, Dylan Rudd there. And we got Jordan Pruden, Dylan Pereira. They're all going to give him a run for his money by the look of it. And you've got the Rayan Leonage. He's up there as well. Alex Cord will give him a run for his money as well. Pressure will be on all the time there. So I'm really looking forward to this season.
I am as well, mate. Last week was the perfect start point, the perfect launch pad in which to build upon for the next 11 weeks. The ingredients are all there. The recipe's there. We've just got to mix the batter, as they say. And these guys have put on a great show with that thus far. It's a terrific course that we've got on our agenda tonight. Watkins Glen in New York. Looking forward to this race. 100th of a second between first and second on this grid. Rainer Costello and Dylan Rudd. That bodes well for a cracking race. I mean, look at last week. They followed each other nose to tail for much of the night. In the end, track position and this was even after pit lane penalties for the both of them, pit lane drive-throughs. They came back and still finished first and second thanks to a late race incident with young Rian Leonage and also Sean McNamara. But we wait and see what these two can deliver tonight. Will it be as close on paper as it was in qualifying? Will it be as close after all the laps are done this evening as we anticipate it will be? Will these two yet again be stealing the show from the rest of the pack? Let's have a look at the grid, because, by gee, there's plenty of names to run through here. So I'll run through the first 5 rows, and Chris Kisby will take over after that. Rainer Costello, Dylan Rudd, the front row. Jordan Pruden and Dylan Pereira at the second row. Rehan Leonage and Tom Heyman from row 3. Cameron Jones and Alex Court from row 4. Matthew Scholes and Ash Davis from row 5.
And from row 6, we've got Brenton Niski and Blake Warboys and over the page. Row 7, Ben Morris, Mika Limaseria. Row 8, Simon Chadwick, Jacob Brewer, 9, Jamie Dyke, Michael Angus, and 10, Brian Cooper and Rick Sabra.
Row 11 is Peter Crossingham and Dean Power. Row 12, Dean Reddit and Robert Christdale. Row 13 is where you'll find Sean McNamara and David Kirby. Wow, that's saying something to have those guys that far down. But look at this. Look at it. Top 30 separated by less than a second. It's astonishing. Craig Schultz and Chris Barnes from row 14 and Lindsay Hobbs and Alan Dawson from row 15.
You got me there.
Row 16, Rod Hollis and Sam Noble. Row 17 is Hayden Norris and Mitch Campbell. Row 18 is Gina Lacey and Craig Newell. I'll rescue you, Kisby. It's all right. Row 19 is Ricardo JP. Who have we got there? No one at this stage. We've had no one set a time outside the 18th row. So we are getting set. 1 hour and 30 minutes or 30 laps, whichever comes first. And, of course, the only way we go time certain is if this thing runs under safety car for the much of the night. Round 2 of the championship. Will it be square up 1 for Rainer Costello, or will Dylan Rudd go back-to-back? Let's go. Racing now from Watkins Glen in New York. Round 2 of the V8 Super Series is underway for RSRA as they head down towards the first corner. Costello's got the jump and the line and the run to turn 1. Nice clean getaway from all concerned. And that was the one thing we were worried about going into this opening. Stands up. Given what we've seen in stock car racing here over the years, you know that turns 1, 2 and 3 are fraught with danger, but they've made it through there cleanly.
That's right. Coming up the hill there is quite critical too. If you hit the curbs too hard, it throws you side to side as well. Coming up here to the chicane, you've got to get your braking right. And as you get around that, then you go into a large right-hander, and it can throw you off to the side as well. You can also get stuck between gears coming around here as well.
around through the back section of the circuit, the boot for the first time. Going right all over the tail of Rainer Costello here. And of course, last time we were here, Rainer Costello had to work his way through from the back of the field. This time round, clear track, clean real estate ahead of him, and he's making the most of it in the early stages.
Cool, calm
Lap
head
1
on
of 30.
Rainer there as he goes around. If he keeps that cool, calm head, he'll be right.
Now, we're coming around. We might be under safety car here. I think we are. Safety car has been... We're not terribly sure why. But we have our first safety car. Oh, Lee Davis is out on the circuit because we've got... Yeah. We've got Sean McNamara off and out of business at turn 1. Wow.
Not
it goes from bad to worse for McNamara. Last week, he was involved in that incident with Rian Leonage when they were fighting for the win. This week, this is what happened.
3 wide.
A safety car of the night.
Oh, bang.
Oh, no.
Cars into the fence.
That was never going to end well.
No. Car just in front of him came right across him.
On the NTS replay, Sean McNamara out of business on lap 1. Davis leads the field around. The safety car gets its first run of the night. And this is exactly what I talked about, Kisby. We were looking at the fuel numbers thinking there's a possibility here that they can stretch it out from 13 laps to maybe 14 or 15. This safety car opens that opportunity right up.
It does, but then we got to think now, do race control have the new inputs to cut the number of laps down, and are they going to use them? If they do, will they cut it short?
Well,
as we know with iRacing.
What I'll say, Kisby, just jump in there. It's not, of course, it's not the iRacing safety car. So because it's our internal race control and it's our own safety car in the server, this could be a very quick safety car. But that's the point that you make that people might notice when we watch Weekend Warriors or of course, GSRC, that race control now does have the option of manipulating the caution period as per last updates in iRacing.
It does now. So they can go route, and so long as they take out the first lap, then we have the ability to push a 1 to green, and that means that the lap that they're on, it will go green. So that's something that iRacing's brought in, which I think is absolutely fantastic for race controllers that don't have this set up, where they run their own race control, run their own safety car. So bit of voice chatter coming through on the radio. So there must be a few things that race control are going to have a look at, and we'll find out in due course, I suppose.
Indeed we will. Top 8 remain as they were when we started this race. Cameron Jones is 7th, Alex Court is 8th. The safety car, I would assume, will go around one more time. Actually, no. He's going to peel off at the end of this lap. So just a 1-lap caution for you, ladies and gentlemen, to get this under control, and we will get back to green. The big movers so far, down in 22nd position. Chris Barnes has moved up 6 positions. Craig Schultz up 4. Mitch Campbell up 6 positions as well. So too Alan Dawson and Rod Hollis. Those guys are 28th, 6th and 7th respectively. And then you go back to Robert Christall, who lost 10 positions off the start there. Rick Sibra's in the pit lane, has been for a while. Sean McNamara, we know, is out of business. Rainer Costello hits the gas and gets going. Didn't muck around off that restart. Lap 3 is upon us. Here we go. He needed to, absolutely, because he needed to put a little bit of a buffer between himself and Dylan Rudd. Jordan Prudence going with them as well. Dylan Pereira, Rian Leonage, and then also Tommy Heyman as well there in 6th position. I'm so used to having Lassif in the server. It's now his boy Rehan. Move there on the inside as well. Oh, they're clean. They're okay. How good's the aerial shot for you?
Oh, pretty good. Mr. JP, just check that. We had a car vanish on the turn 1. He was on the inside and he just seemed to vanish. So just check back through there and see whether you can pick that up so that we can see who that was. can't see. That's
We've got
okay.
Rick Super is a lap down too, Kisby. That's important to note.
Yep.
Robert Christo has already been in pit lane too. So already a fair bit of drama in the early stages here as we watch Ryan Costello lead the field. We're riding on board further back. That's sixth position. So that'll be Tommy Heyman on Rehan Leonard. And Heyman is going up on the inside. Up into fifth position. Nicely done. Can he get the job done on the overlap? Rehan's still there. He's still got his nose in front. But Heyman's got the inside line when they get down to what is turn 9. And got him that time. But watch Rehan try and stick in. Oh, net code issues for Heyman. And now Leonard up the inside into 10. But Heyman looking to carry the speed up on the high line and maybe get some assistance from Cameron Jones. Heyman's got it. Into fifth. And Leonard's under tremendous pressure from Cameron. So just be mindful too, ladies and gentlemen, that race control will reserve the right to take action if the dropouts continue at Heyman's end. It's a net code thing, but race control will try and eliminate it if it becomes a problem for the competitors around him. In the meantime, have a look at this. Jones and Leonard. Wow. This is good racing, good hard racing at the moment. And Jones moves up into sixth position. Leonard's down to seventh. Dylan Rudd, 148.84, 2/10 of a second faster than Rainer Costello. So Rainer's not the fastest on the track at the moment, but he has got the position. He has got the lead at the moment. This is really good to watch.
Comes down through. I don't know whether you realise there, Mr. Director, but I'm still on double screen. Okay.
So Rainer Costello, Dylan Rudd at the moment. Lap 4 of 30. And hope you're enjoying it wherever you're tuning in around Australia. I just realised I hadn't opened the Facebook feed to follow along with the live. There's Matthews goals. Michalema, Sturia, Brenton Nitschke all over the back of him at the moment. Ash Davis is in there as well.
Oh, Ash Davis into the wall.
Oh, no. From 10th. If that's the case, we'll have a look on replay. Oh, the hip and shoulder, if you don't mind. Firstly.
Yeah. He gets around that one safely, and then, was that a tap from behind?
He'll be okay. Don't worry about that. He'll be fine. He'll be able to keep going, but that will require some damage repair, I would suggest. Rainer Costello back at the front, right down the inside, going into the shoe. Have a look at that. He's got it done. Rudd takes the lead away from Costello. A brilliant move going into the bus. That's brilliant stuff. So Rudd now picks up where he left off in Canada with all the ascendancy. Costello tucks in behind. Look at Jordan Pruden going with them as well. He set it up beautifully, Kisby. The slipstream, wasn't it? Have a look at this. The draft.
Comes up, lets through. Rayner very sensible there just to let him go. He knew he had him.
Well, it's early in the
set himself up for the bus stop there first. You got to hit that first ripple strip there properly. Otherwise, it throws you right across to the other side.
Jacob Brewer coming over the inside of Michael Angus. Can he get it done? Yes, no, yes, no, yes. Angus around the outside. Holds on. Great piece of driving from Angus. And under all sorts of pressure there is Jacob Brewer, because look at the pack. I mean, this is an extraordinary freight train of cars. Dyke, Crossingham, Power, Barnes, Cooper, Schultz, all in there.
Well, normally we see a little bit of a breakaway from the front, but they're not getting away, Zach. It's right the way through, and I really don't know where to look at the moment. Yeah, a couple going wide into turn one.
Yeah, good move from Peter Crossingham there on the inside. I've got to go back to my server timing because it's at the moment it's just playing havoc on the internal server. About half a lap behind in the meantime. And Dyke and Crossingham still arguing over the same piece of real estate. Powers in there as well. Here they go up towards the I think I said the shoe a minute ago. I couldn't think of the right term. It's the bus stop, of course. 25 to go at Watkins Glen. Rudd, Costello, the margin 0.8 of a second. And Rudd doing a superb job up front, but look at the pressure mounting. We were on board with Rian Leonage. Now he's under all sorts of pressure as well because he's got Blake Warboys and Alex Court for company.
Yeah, it's well, this is going to be. We're going to be on the edge of our seats right the way through this. Look at the freight train coming through. Car after car after car, all sussing each other out, waiting for the person in front to make a mistake. Early on in this race, just got to sit there and wait. No use pushing the point. So Rayan Leonage.
So Rian's doing a nice job there, isn't he? Rian. I mean, think of the pressure on this young bloke. Come in fresh off the T2E series last season, and in amongst all the hot shots, the big boys, and he's punching well above his weight in the top 10. Now, get on the inside, John Pereira. No, it's Pereira, so I should say, on Tommy Heyman. Cameron Jones in there behind him. Still trying to catch up with where everybody is at the moment. But Pereira moves there into, or loses out, I should say, to Tommy Heyman. So Heyman on Pereira, and now here comes Cameron Jones down on the inside. We'll eventually get on top of this, folks. There are that many numbers running around the place. Down the inside, Jones. Pereira displaced back to 6. So Pereira's lost 2 positions in the space of half a lap here at Watkins Glen. We're on lap 7.
See how they're biding their time. They're just waiting for their time. They'll sit behind, watch how they drive, find the place that they think that they're weak. Here we go. Blake Warboys on.
He went well gathered up by Rian Leonage, but he loses out of Alex Court as well. Wow. Hip and shoulder from Blake Warboys.
That car was sideways.
Watch this. Continental drift style from Rian Leonage to gather it up after this.
Inside.
I mean, the move was on. He was there.
Look at that.
By gee. Look at the car control from Leonage. The Court goes through as well.
Yeah, those big boots that needed filling, I reckon they're being filled by Rian. With a name like Leonage.
Yeah, exactly. And we talk about it all the time.
Season.
We talk about Jet Johnson. We talk about Aaron Seaton. There's a reputation that comes with the name. The same applies to Rian Leonage. And so head down the main straight. We're back with Tommy Heyman right now. And apologies, folks. The fact of the matter is, as I was saying there, I'm having a couple of issues with my timing screen tonight. So I'm using the iRacing server and trying to meet up numbers and drivers. It's just not computing at the moment, but we'll do our best. Follow the totem pole on the left-hand side of your screen in the meantime. There's Tom Heyman. And he is 4th at the moment under pressure from Cameron Jones. Rudin, Costello and Rudd are all ahead of them, and the margin is 2.5 seconds. So the leaders are through the bus stop as the next pack arrives there. 1.2 now between Rudd and Costello.
Yeah, into a bit of a conservation mode here for Rayner, I'd say. Just Rudd's had to sit there and push hard to try and get past. Has he used up too much of his tyres? Has he burnt up too much fuel? Can Rayner save enough fuel to get a lap on him? First round of pit stops will soon tell. As per usual, I would say that they'll try and hang on to these tyres until the second pit stop and then make the run for home. But yeah, it's going to be interesting, as it is every single week. Looking at Simon Chadwick coming the back there, having to brake, looking for a way round.
And he's in all sorts of traffic there at the moment, Bisbee, because, well, he's got Michael Angus behind him. He's got Brendan Nitschke in front of him. Nitschke, of course, new to the series, sitting there in 13th. Chadwick, we know from last season, so too Michael Angus as well. Yes, we did, absolutely. We asked him if we might be able to have a chat with him post-race as well. He said, maybe towards the end of the season. I've got to get my way through the pack first. In the meantime, lap 9 of 30, Dylan Rudd, Rainer Costello, Jordan Pruden, the top three. Chadwick. Surely they can't go too wide that tightly through there. That's brilliant. Chadwick trying to get down on the inside. Contact! There it goes. Big one. Wow. And look at the traffic jam that's opened up. Now, this was, I didn't think it was on.
Trying to squeal
and
through.
Then they've got around the outside. Nitschke's come across to try and defend the line, and then Chadwick's run out of room.
I think there was
a bit of that code as well. But I still think race control will throw the book at Chadwick. Look at that. Big hit for Nitschke. Bang. And then a second one for good measure.
No matter what. There was a definite gap there, but he was going to hit no matter what. So from a race control point of view, if you're going to hit whenever, even though it is netcode, if it looks like you're going to hit, it's treated as if you hit.
Lap 9 of 30, Cameron Jones has got by Tom Hay. So there's that bit of breaking news for you.
NTS replay, Lou Tempe.
Exactly the same as Dylan Rudd. Exactly the same as Dylan Rudd. Getting by Rainer Costello up at the bus stop. Nicely executed from Cameron Jones.
If you can get that inside line, they've actually got to back off because they'll actually turn into you. So you're better off just backing off that slight bit and hope the guy that's got the inside line has taken or broken just a little bit later, and then that makes it so much harder to get through the bus stop there. Yeah.
Court's too far back to try and get by Warboys there. So we keep our eyes peeled on this battle for 8th at the moment. Rehan Leonage is 9th. Not too far away in the distance. Geez, another safety car would really spice things up, wouldn't it? We're at lap 10. So if it is a two-stop race, you can stop now. You can stop now, Kisby, comfortably. Stop now, take some fuel, get up to lap 20, take some fuel, get home. However, there's a few different ways you can play the strategy as Court has a big look at Warboys. Can't quite get the job done. Now, just going back, the fuel restriction for this race was 52.8 litres. Divide that by the fuel burn of 4.08 litres a lap. You're looking at 12.94. With that safety car, you can probably stretch it out to, nearly 14 laps with a little bit of fuel saving. 13 definitely. So you're looking at 13 and 26, but then there's different ways you can play that, because you might see some guys, Kisby, opt to pit now and then pit on lap 17 or 18 and then take the fresher rubber early and try and get a little bit of an advantage that way for the run home. So there's a few interesting ways that the strategy can play out tonight as Court has a big look down on the inside of Warboys, but can't get the job done. Now on the exit, they're side by side heading up to turn 2. We saw how this ended earlier. These two, a little bit more space between them. Court loses a little bit of grip through there. He's sliding through, and Warboys consolidates 7th for the moment. Rainer Costello at the front of the field, a second the margin there. Now Court sets it up on Warboys. Court gets the job done going into the bus stop, and Court moves up into 7th. So,
really lining it up through that bus stop there. Being extra
that seems to be. That seems to be the key position for overtaking so far tonight, Kisby.
Well, if you get the right position, you actually force the other guy to back out because when you go in on the inside and you're trying to hold the speed through there, you've got to go from one side of the track to the other. And if you've got that overlap, then it forces them to stay out, and they've actually got to let you go through so that they can get into position to come around and into the next two corners.
So, down the back straight. Before they flick it around that long sweeping right-hander and then on their way to the left-hander at turn 10. No pit stops at all. 11 laps in the book now. We're on to lap 12. Rudd, Costello, Pruden, then Heyman. Jesus, safety car spices it up here. There's no doubt about that. Because now that we're in the window, Kisby, if we do get a safety car, everyone's in.
Well,
and that would just then mean all bets are off for the second stint. Brilliant Leonage.
As I said, this is the track to do it because you do have the railings not too far away. So if you do slip out and hit it and then bounce back onto the track, it's going to throw a safety car straight away, where the likes of some other tracks, you've got plenty of room for the cars to get through. This track's not one of them.
No, it's not. Not at all. So Ben Morris is 9th. We've got him getting by Rihan Leonage. So Leonage has slipped back to 10th and all of that. Nicolima Masuria up to 11th. Chadwick up to 12th. Dyke 13th, then Power. Barnes, Schultz. Cooper is 17th. Rod Hollis 18th. Chris Barnes and Rod Hollis both 13 positions gained. 28th to 15th for Barnes and Rod Hollis 31st to 18th. The biggest gain to the night thus far. Dina Lacey not too far behind. 12 positions gained for him in 23rd position after starting 35th. Some big losers, however. Jacob Brewer down 16 positions down to 32nd. Rick Sibra down 13 positions and a lap down at the moment. Ash Davis a lap down as well in 34th, having dropped 24 positions. Brendan Nitschke still in the pits after that big hit a few moments ago. And, of course, Sean McNamara out of business.
On to lap 13 for...
Oh, jeez. Big block up going into the pit lane from Tom Heyman. Let's just hope he doesn't get pinged for pit lane speeding as a result of locking it up there on the entrance to pit lane. Here come the leaders. Costello, Heyman, both in. We've already got a couple of cars in pit lane from earlier.
Interesting enough, Dylan stayed out. Dylan Rudd has stayed out, so he's on his 13th,
yeah.
So...
Well, we're in the window, and obviously Rayner's looking for the undercut, and Rudd's going for the overcut. So they're running different strategies this week, which is interesting.
Rayner's out now.
Now, in the meantime, Dylan Rudd makes his way through the uphill right-hander at the boot. How good's this Watkins Glen International, eh? The Grand Prix layout, the layout that the IndyCars used to run when they came here. They haven't been here for a while. We are having an absolute field day with the supercars here this evening. It's the RSRA Super Series on the platforms of SimShed Broadcasting all around Australia, all around the world. Great to have you with us wherever you're tuning in, be it on YouTube or Facebook, as we watch Dylan Rudd lead this race. This is round 2 of 12 in the championship. We now wait to see whether Rudd's going to come to pit lane this time by, or whether he can get an extra lap out of this one. Now he's coming in. There we go. Rudd's in the lane. Car 957 has a drive-through penalty for car contact on 066. Earlier in the race, 957 is Simon Chadwick. That was the incident with Brenton Nitschke, and he is gone. There we go. Rainer Costello, we've got our eyes on him, where he comes out, or where he lines up on this racetrack in relation to Dylan Rudd, who is on pit road now. Interesting enough, Pruden, Pereira, Warboys, Leonage, Lima Surya, and Dyke have all gone on for a 14th lap.
Rainer coming up to the last turn now.
And Rudd's on his way. Out now. Rudd is on his way.
Yeah, I think Rayner's got him.
I think you might be right, Kisby. Rayner Costello. No. Now, what's happened here? That hasn't added up because I would have thought that Costello would get that job done, but no.
He would have had
Cameron Rudd has taken the lead here, and they are, interestingly enough, 11th and 12th on the racetrack. The top 10 yet to stop. With the exception of Robert Christdale, who came in on lap 1, will need to stop again at some point.
Doesn't add up completely because I've got on my timing screen, I've got 4 seconds as a pit stop for Rayner Costello. I've got 17 seconds for Dylan Rudd.
Well, 20.80 for Rayner and 22.25 for Dylan Rudd is what I've got. So it still doesn't add up on that count.
No.
So what? Yeah, it's a strange one, but again, long way left to go. So plenty of time for Rayner to make that back. The outlap might have been his Achilles heel, Rayner Costello. So we got Pruden, Pereira, Leonard, Boys, Surya, Dyke, Schultz, Barnes, Hobbs, and Chrisdale all in the pit lane right now. So this will settle our corrected order here with Dylan Rudd and Rayner Costello going through to first and second. The margin is half a second. Rudd leads Costello. Yet again, it's a tight margin at the top. Yet again, it's hard to take our eyes off. Pruden goes third, Heyman fourth, caught the big winner in all that up to fifth. Then Jones, Morris, Dyke, Pereira, and Scholes the top 10. Rehan Leonage 11th. Blake Warboys 12th, the big loser in all that. He was on the road for 27 seconds, the longest stop of the lot. That's a big time waster for Blake Warboys, unfortunately. So we're watching Tom Heyman at the moment. Good to see this youngster from the Aussie Racing Car Super Series back on our grid. Oh, Mika Lima Surya sends it down the inside. Nice move, up into 13th now, getting by Peter Crossingham.
Wow.
We just got to send to our earpiece, folks, that this guy, Mika Lima Surya, did not even have a race set up for this track until tonight. So this makes the effort even more impressive as he now tries to get up on the outside here of Blake Warboys for 12. And he won't be able to do that just yet.
I was certainly listening to Mika on the radio earlier. And I'm thinking, what's Aiden?
Breaking news.
Uh-oh.
Jordan Pruden got a pit lane penalty, a drive-through penalty for a pit lane infringement. Jordan Pruden is out of business.
There we go. And that's how easy it can happen.
Absolutely.
Let's just say I was listening to Mika earlier, and I was thinking, what's Aiden doing in this race? And it wasn't Aiden. It was. I had to remember that Mika is about the same age as Aiden. So
yeah, correct.
From the two of them, yeah, they sound pretty similar.
Indeed, they do.
Fellas.
Hey, Ben Morris down on the inside of Cameron Jones.
Whoa.
Morris up into the top 5. What a nice move from the 43.
Morris is saying, there, I'll just give you a little bit of a shove and keep you moving.
A shove or a nudge or a kick.
Yeah.
Whatever the terminology is.
Just letting you know that I'm here.
Exactly right.
I had Mikey Hammond doing that to me last night. We had the Audis around Villeneuve, and he was just pushing me in the back there and saying, I'm here, Kisby, I'm here.
Now, here we go. Ben Morris, 5th position under all sorts of pressure from Cameron Jones. But This is actually, whoa, little bit of a touch. Little bit of a touch from Cameron Jones on Ben Morris.
Here we go.
Now the gamesmanship is alive.
Cameron says, I'm here, don't make a mistake.
No, you wouldn't want to. This is interesting too, because one of the other things I want to point out is that Ben Morris had all the pace in the world last season, just couldn't net a result. Is this the time for him to turn that around? We'll wait and see. You're watching round 2 of the RSRA Super Series round 1 of the DSL Welding Triple Crown, ladies and gentlemen. There'll be 3 of those events this season, the last being a sprint double from Mount Panorama Bathurst, including, yes, a reverse grid feature. We cannot wait for that. Car number 61, pit lane infringement. So car 61 out of business as well there. Dylan Pereira, who started 4th and is sitting 8th, and that'll be him out of business. So unfortunate for Dylan Pereira. One of his best qualifying performances all brought undone because these guys have had an oversight when looking at the new rules. The new rules that state that you can only overlap 1 pit box before your own, not just drive down the pit boxes on the right-hand side of pit lane. So he's been brought undone, as we saw several drivers last week fall for the same trick, including the guys that ended up duking it out for the race win, Dylan Rudd and Rainer Costello. Rudd's lead is consolidated. It's manageable at 1 second over Rainer Costello. You're watching Tom Heyman in 3rd under pressure from Alex Court. And so 196 is also getting a pit lane penalty here as well for you, ladies and gentlemen. That is Cameron Jones. That is Cameron Jones.
Oh, no.
Wow. Advantage Ben Morris in his attempt to get a top 5 finish. And now look at Matthew Scholes up on the outside. Rian Leonage up on the inside. Rian Leonage into position number 9. Nice move, Kisby.
Up on the inside, holds it tight. And then just lets it drift out. Yeah, what a nice move.
Ah,
when it comes, when moves like that come off, they feel so great in your hands in the steering wheel. You can feel the car really stick to the road if you've got it correct. I don't get it correct very often, but when I do, just big smile over my face, and I get there, and I actually did a couple of moves last night on Mr. Nichols and company, and I Mr. Nico Pop, and felt really, really good.
Absolutely. Now here on the inside, Rod Hollis, the 19th. Oh, I tell you what, he wanted to take David Kirby with him, couldn't do that, because Craig Schultz wanted to hang there on the outside. Or is it, sorry, Brian Cooper, my apologies. Brian Cooper, of course. So, Kirby behind him and Lindsay Hobbs as well. So many names, so many cars out there. We're on lap 18 of 30. And again, as I've been saying all night, a late race safety car would really spice things up. But at the moment, it's Rudd, Costello, Heyman, Court, the rest. Morris is 5th. Sideways moment there from Lindsay Hobbs. Oh, number 19, Nicolai Masturia. From 9th position, the youngster's going to cop a drive-through penalty and put that one down to inexperience.
He'll learn from this, as they always do.
Absolutely will. Now, remember, folks, we have still got a good 12 laps to go next time by the line. We've been racing for 35 minutes here. And we've got Rainer Costello in the pit lane already. Rainer Costello's in. Now, this is interesting, Kisby, because this is exactly what we were talking about. The ability, because of the way the fuel numbers stack up, to come in and take tyres early and maybe reap the rewards.
Remembering that Rudd actually got an extra lap. Oh, no. He had to reverse back.
Yeah. Costly from Rainer. But how costly, we won't know just yet. Wow. The
Overshot the
pressure
pit
is getting to these guys.
It is, but Dylan got an extra lap out of his last, whether, I don't know how he was able to get an extra lap to everybody else on fuel consumption in that first stint. So,
well, to be fair, Kisby, it would have been because of the safety car and the state of the fuel. And the fact of the matter is that we saw some guys come in on lap 14, some on 13, some on 12. We were in that window the entire time, so I'm not overly surprised. Now, Rehan Leonage. Oh, wow. Jamie Dykes got up into 5th position. Rehan back to 6th. And the pressure mounts. Youngster in 951 trying to go down on the inside here. Great move. Clockwork.
Go. Rayner was in 13.1 seconds. So we'll see how that pans out at the end of the race.
So, Dylan Rudd is on pit road. Provided that he's done everything right, he should come out as the leader, effectively in relation to Rayner Costello, who's 15th at the moment. Well and truly. Dylan Rudd's just stopped now, so he is now taking fuel. Drive-through penalty for 0-2-0, and that is for a pit lane infringement again. That is Hayden Norris.
Rayner's just across the line.
And Dylan Rudd's out. Rudd's the leader. Rudd is the leader by a staggering margin. But now they got to be mindful about traffic. It's a second and a half. But this is for position with Michael Masuria. Masuria 7th, Rudd 8th, Costello 9th, and Costello.
Now this is playing into Rayner's hands here.
Absolutely.
It's slowed Dylan up a little bit.
Absolutely. It opens the door for Costello to make up for lost time in that previous pit stop. This is a huge opportunity right here and now. Lima Surya defending for his life.
He's not only got Mika to get past, he's got 2 other cars in front of him, which are at the back of the pack. So, Mika's...
he's let him go. He's let him go. Lima Surya, wow. That's tactical.
Yeah.
He realised that he has to pit. He's got to drive through, so he's not going to hold the leaders up. Now, I don't think the other two, Craig Schultz, Dylan Pereira, will be as generous. Because they are racing for position. They've got Tom Heyman in the lane now as well, folks. Now, car 344 with a pit lane infringement as well. That's Brian Cooper. He's in pit lane now for a penalty 2, drive-through. In the meantime, Heyman's in the lane. Costello is all over the back of Rudd, onto the main straight. There's Alex Court, effectively 3rd in the race. If he can get the better of Tommy Heyman, but I'm not sure whether that will work because Heyman's out of the lane now. There's Tom Heyman.
Stay out.
It's right touch and go. Heyman and Ford are going to be duking it out for 3rd. We're all the way to the checkered flag. Now, look at this. Craig Schultz. Rayner Costello needs to make light work of him because he's been held up here. Costello needs to get by Schultz on the inside. Now does so. Now the chase for Rudd is on. But that has helped Rudd enormously.
Yeah, Rudd got past him and then Schultz got in front of Rayner there and sort of blocked him up. Hopefully this will allow Rayner to drag up on the back of Rudd.
Well. This is alive and well. Rudd all over the back of Pereira. Pereira sitting 4th, Rudd 5th, Costello 6th. And yet again, I think it's going to be one of those situations where Rayner might just be upstaged here.
Oh,
But there's so much time still to play out here. 8 laps to go. But the way the narrative is playing out, I just think this is runs to lose right now, Chris.
it is. Yeah, he's making hard work of trying to get past Pereira there. And hopefully he doesn't push too hard. It seems to me that he's trying to push a little bit harder to get Pereira to make a mistake, which is allowing Rayner to get back onto the back of him. As Rayner comes in, brakes late, comes round turn 1. It's a great exit out of turn 1 into turn 2 and up the hill.
Well, here we go.
See what happens at the bus stop.
The run up the back straight. Is this the moment for Rudd? This is it. Down the inside, Rudd on Pereira. Rudd done. And so good through there as well. Costello, unfortunately, held up at the moment by Pereira, and that's an opportunity, Rudd. That's advantage, Rudd, I should say. That's an opportunity for him to try and skip away. 0-1-3 is going to cover pit lane infringement drive-through penalty as well. That's Craig Newell, I believe. So he's coming to pit lane. We haven't mentioned him much tonight. He's sitting well down the order in 32nd position, and that's not going to be helped by what's about to come his way.
Pereira stayed to the outside there, let Rayner through. But it's given Dylan the break that he needs.
Ben Morris, the effective race leader at the moment, but he's about to come to pit lane. Not this time by, though. He'll go around once more. It's going to be a short, sharp run for him on fresh tyres whenever he does decide to pit. Unless he took them on the first stop on lap 13, in which case it doesn't matter. All bets are off. But we're hearing that he didn't take the fresh set in the first stop. Maybe he's learnt his lesson from last time round, Chris Kisby, where he kept taking the tyres early and then bringing himself undone.
Yes, it's just one of those things, isn't it? We found last season that they took the tyres in the second stint almost every time. Top 5 did. And it was so that they had fresher tyres at the end of the race rather than at the beginning of the race. Now, unless you're going to have a good impact at the beginning of the race and get a good lead, then taking tyres first up isn't going to work for you because the other guy's going to catch you quickly. You're on skatey tyres in the second stint and the other guys are on fresh. Oh.
Whoa, I tell you what, Tommy Heyman giving it everything, and he's just clocked the fastest lap of the race. That's why. 1:48.76, Heyman's on a charge. Now, let's have a look at the facts and stats here. 5 cars ahead of him have not pitted a second time yet. Heyman is effectively third, and Alex Court is fourth at the moment. The margin 1.4 between them, and Heyman trying his best to close the gap to the cars in front. Rudd and Costello gone, but Heyman's only 2 seconds behind them. There they are, all in that freight train. 1, 2, 3, 4. There's Heyman. Then Alex Court as well. Ben Morris, does he pit this time round? Does he set the catalyst for everybody else? Yes, he does. Ben Morris is on pit road. Lap 23 of 30 is in the books. We now start lap 24. Rehan Leonage goes on one more time.
Another penalty I'm hearing on the radio. I just didn't catch it.
There it is. 0-2. Oh, 0-2-0 again. Oh, dear. That's the second time tonight for the exact same thing. So that's Hayden Norris on lap 22, a pit lane infringement penalty. Drive-through. Done. Out of business.
Smoke.
Rod Hollis. There's a bit of smoke billowing there.
He's still going by the look of it.
Let's have a look at this. No.
Yeah, just a bit too much. Bit too much accelerator coming out.
Oh, how good did the car behind work to get by?
Just quietly, Rayner's actually catching Dylan at the front there. Lap by lap, he's getting closer and closer.
Indeed he is. Here we go. Rod Hollis in pit lane. So we don't get that late race safety car we were anticipating.
No.
Rehan Leonard leads the way, but he's got to stop yet. So too Jordan Pruden in behind them. So too Dylan Pereira. And they're the three that he had to stop, and Heyman down on the inside trying to get by Pereira. Can't get it. He tucks back in. This is a much better performance from Tommy Heyman this time out. Really good stuff. Leonage, Pruden, Rudd, Costello, and Pereira. The margin first to second, half a second. Jeez, it's been on for Young and Old between Rudd and Costello right from the outset, but I think Costello's going to just fall short. However, important to note, he did get pole position by 100th of a second, Chris Kisby. So that's
he did.
I mean, that's a big net gain for him. 5 points is a big margin when the pole margin's only 100th of a second. Let me tell you, is Heyman down the inside? Heyman goes to position number 5 on the inside of Dylan Pereira now. Job done. I mean, think about that. If you're Dylan Rudd, you're filthy, because that 5 points could have been a mass leg up in the championship, given that the margin between the two was only 2 points, right? So coming into this round,
oh, here we go.
Contact, here goes Cameron Jones. The car behind him has gone well off the circuit.
Both still running.
Matthew Scholes, was it? Dean Powell hit the grass and got into the side. Here it is again.
Out wide.
So this will be a little bit of grass, a little bit of contact, under brakes because the grass sends him sideways. And then all hell breaks loose.
So he's on the brakes hard now. And just touches that, and it just bang.
Whooshka. Lucky not to do any damage. That's the save of the night right there.
That has got to be the save of the night.
46.5 minutes in the books last time we're at Leonage, passed by the start-finish line. Rainer Costello, Dylan Rudd separated by 0.7 of a second. But what I'm getting at, Chris Kisby, is in the championship points, because Rainer's got that one pole position, he'll drop 2 points, so the margin will be 4. 150 plays 148, but with that 5, Costello will lead the championship by a solitary point tonight.
The other way around. See?
The other way around. It only took 2 weeks, but we're back there.
Yeah, we are. And, it shows how important getting that pole position is with the extra
Look at him on the lights again. You were up him a couple of weeks ago about how excessive headlight use, but now he's flashing the night away once more. Right, 26 to 30.
Yeah.
5 to go. We were heading for 30 laps, 164 kilometres, and the best is yet to come here. Here is Chris Barnes in 18th.
Oh, rain is pushing like crazy coming through the bus stop.
And Rehan Leonage and Jordan Pruden have not stopped yet. They have not stopped the second time yet. And nor has Dylan Pereira. They're the only 3 in the race yet to stop a second time.
Well, they're going to have to, aren't they?
I can't see a way out of it. No.
They're both at 12.
Unless they want to trigger a late race safety car by pulling up out of fuel on track. I don't know. Chris Barnes is right there, all over the back of Mitch Campbell at the moment. In behind them is Craig Schultz, of course, as we make our way down through the boot for the 5th last time.
So this stage now, you get to the stage where you don't want a yellow flag.
That's right.
Safety car, because if you finish under a safety, the positions aren't going to change.
Leonage continues on 1 more lap, so it's going to be a 3-lap sprint for him, I would say. 27 to 30, and we're watching Chris Barnes. The margin 3rd to 4th is now 0.5 of a second still between Rainer Costello and Dylan Rudd, with Rudd the ascendancy. We're watching Rehan Leonage there lead this race, but for not much longer. So through they go. We'll have an inside scoop for you very shortly, ladies and gentlemen, from the NTF squad. But in the meantime, we watch Rainer Costello all over the back of Rudd. The margin is 0.4. So Costello's taken a tenth out of him.
Slowly.
This is on right here.
5 laps there, Zach, and he's just been edging the pressure each lap, time after time after time. He's been just getting it right, hitting his apexes, and trying to put the pressure on. And now here we go. Look at this.
Okay. Rehan Leonage, we're just hearing it in our earpiece, ladies and gentlemen. They're hoping for a safety car. They don't have enough fuel. They will therefore require a splash and dash. It'll most likely be this time by lap 27 or 30. 3 laps to go next time by the start finish line. This is Rainer Costello all over the back of Dylan Rudd, and the margin is 0.3 of a second. Every corner, every millimetre of this racetrack has to be perfect from this this pair, I should say, from this point forward. These guys have put on a clinic, a tremendous show the last 2 weeks, and yet again, it's going to be separated by car lengths, not seconds, at the end of this race. Now, just notice there how much Dylan Rudd was able to skip clear of Rainer Costello through turn 11, and then the same through 12. Rudd has the advantage as they head down the main straight for the 3rd last time.
Coming into turn 1, Rainer brakes just a slight bit later than what Dylan did. Dylan's run wide.
Oh, here we go. Jordan Pruden, Rian Leonage, Dylan Pereira, all in the lane and on their box. And now, everyone, we are back on track. Everyone has completed their 2nd round of pit stops. Hey, just an update from Wimbledon as well. Alex Demonor, the first of many Aussies on the court tonight there at the All England Club. Down 2 sets to love, unfortunately, 6-4, 6-3, or 6-3, 6-4, whichever way it was. But Alex Demonor needs a demon effort if he's going to come back and win the opening round match that he's playing there at the All England Club. Great to have Wimbledon back on the schedule. You can watch it on the wide world of sports, of course. Drive-through penalty pit lane infringement. Car number 23, Jordan Pruden. Jordan Pruden out of fitness. 7th position, and Pruden is going to have to come to pit lane. Now 2-3 wide coming into the bus stop. Nothing there. Nothing to eventuate as Mitch Campbell holds on to 17th. Here we go. Keep an eye on these guys. We've got 0.4 of a second separating Rudd and Costello in the closing stage of this race. We ride with Simon Chadwick at the moment. He gets the job done there on the inside, or does he? No, he gets muscled out. As they head down towards turn, I think it's 8 on this Watkins Glen boot circuit. The long track, as we like to put it. NASCAR, of course, racing on the short track a little bit later on this year. As they head down towards turn 9.
5.
It's huge, isn't it, this battle pack? Can you believe it? This late in the race. Pereira, Campbell, Barnes, Schultz, Chadwick is who you're watching at the moment.
Got one eye on them and one eye on Rainer and Dylan.
For all the right reasons as well.
You don't know where to look.
It's almost like we need side by side. Here's Dylan Rudd holding sway over Rainer Costello as they come into the bus stop for the 2nd last time. And this will... Oh, car!
Oh, car
off in the gravel! We've got a car in the gravel. Does this end under caution? We've got Robert Christo up and out of business. He's either going to need a tow from race control or they're going to leave him there deserted. Would you believe it? Pit lane drive-through penalty. Tom Heyman's out of business as well. That's a pit lane infringement from him, and he's going to get a drive-through. And that is going to put Alex Court on the podium. And Rehan Leonage is going to be 4th. Wow, what a moment. But Dylan Rudd has 1 1/4 laps to go. He is holding sway over Rainer Costello here at the moment. Race control will leave that Crystal car where it is. They will leave him off track. They will leave him deserted. Oh, big one. Spinner in front. That was Ash Davis.
Leaders got
And
through.
the end of what's been another disappointing night at the office for him. There are cars all over this racetrack at the moment. Both on the bitumen and in the dirt. White flag is out. Heyman continues on, but he's got a pit line penalty coming his way.
Come on, Rainer.
If he doesn't observe it, race control will either add the time of a transit or find some other way of penalising him, I'm sure. But there is a penalty outstanding for Tom Heyman. There is an invoice to settle on that. And is there a price to pay at the front? Dylan Rudd and Rainer Costello. 0.6 of a second, now 0.5. Costello gets the draft. Up towards the bus stop. This is the last lap, and yet again these two are separated by car lengths. For the second week in a row.
Back isn't going to do any difference, Rainer, so just leave that button alone.
Exactly right. So here we go. There's tactics at play here for Tom Heyman. We reckon there's speculation that if he can do a Michael Schumacher, by which he comes in, serves his penalty, and still has enough time to cover Alex Court off by the control line, he'll still get third. We'll wait and see. We will wait and see whether race control want to take further action on that. But in the meantime, they go down into turn 9 for the last time, and this has been a superb performance from Dylan Rudd. But yet again, qualifying the Achilles heel. He is going to win the round in terms of getting first to the checker flag and winning the race.
You know what I'm laughing about, don't you?
Rainer Costello is going to win the round by a solitary point. Sorry, by 3 points in this instance, and he's going to lead the championship by 1.
By 1.
Oh, you cannot separate these two yet again. Dylan Rudd, for the last turn under the lane straight, 2 from 2 to start the RSRA Super Series. He wins like one of the DSL Welding Triple Crown. Brilliant performance. Heyman doesn't come in to serve his penalty, so race control will deal with that. Provisionally, he sits third. We know it won't last that long. And Rainer Costello second in the end. Again, it's 0.6 of a second. That is just extraordinary stuff. Heyman third, Court fourth, Rehan Leonage fifth. Then you go back to Benny Morris. Then Matty Scholes, Blake Warboys, Jamie Dyke and Peter Crossingham. And that, Chris Kisby, is the way we do it.
And we do it well, don't we? But wow, that's just somebody's run out of fuel by the looks of it.
Hang on, we need to keep an eye on this.
Yes,
we need to keep an eye on Dylan Rudd, because if he can't make it back to pit lane, there's going to be a huge sting in the tail here, and it's going to be worse than a bee sting for Dylan Rudd. He needs to make it back to pit lane. He's got time to do it. There is time available to him to get back to pit lane under his own steam, but he must do it under his own steam. Can you believe the drama? Can you believe the drama continues here after the checkered flag flies? Oh, this is extraordinary. Kisby, I almost can't look at this.
Oh, this is heartbreaking. I know I like to see Rainer win, but not like this. Not like this. He can't even get it up the hill.
He won't get it up the hill. It's done. It's over. Now, can someone remind me what the penalty is if he can't make it back to the box? It'll be a 3-place penalty. So all of a sudden, I'm going to stress this provisionally. Provisionally, and this could take a while to dissect, ladies and gentlemen, but provisionally, if Rudd gets pinged, that's Costello victory. That's Costello victory, Court second, right? Because Heyman's got his pit lane penalty coming his way. It could be Rehan Leonage on the podium. And I almost slipped the tongue there. Dylan Rudd, I can't watch this. This is just, this is gut-wrenching. It was meant to be 2 from 2. It had every right to be that way. He drove a beautiful race, but he is coming to a crushing halt. And this is, yeah, this is just, oh, wow. Talk about anticlimactic. Oh, wow. This is the opposite. This is the climax after the fact. And he is limping at 20, 21 kilometres an hour. It's never looked so slow in all of your life.
So can you hear anything, Mr. Director? We can't hear it from here. Let's see.
Well, you need to ride on board with him on the iRacing serve. Say, Chris Kisby.
I'll do that.
Let's see if I can do
on
that.
to that now. Yep. Where is he?
Get to race results and all that sort of stuff, ladies and gentlemen. Rainer Costello's made it back to the pit lane. There won't be any victory doughies or celebrations tonight. There is so much drama to unravel here. Yeah, unbelievable what we're witnessing here on a Tuesday night. How good's Tuesday night motorsport been in the first 2 weeks of the second season? Unbelievable stuff. And this is where we've got all our eyes at the moment on Dylan Rudd trying to get back to the lane. He's got up to 60 k's an hour, so that's good because he's rolling down the hill. The problem's going to be when he has to roll up the hill between turns 9 and 10. And then it's pretty well flat track from there, and then a little bit of an uphill run going into pit lane. He's got plenty of speed at the moment. He'll get plenty going down the hill. That's not the problem.
But he's got no motor going.
No, it's very silent, isn't it?
I cannot hear any motor.
Now, race control have also after what we saw earlier in the first season. No, that's it. She's done.
That's it.
That thing's not going any further. What a crushing, soul-destroying way to lose a race. Unbloody believable. And I think I can say that because we're past 9:30 in the West. But my goodness gracious me. Past 7:30 in the West, rather 9:30 in the East, 11:30 in New Zealand. If you're just joining us, ladies and gentlemen. So the results are going to come up on your screen. They are going to be provisional. And race control is going to have their work cut out for them for the next short while here. We will still bring in...
One thing we do know is that Dylan will go back 3 places.
We will still bring in Dylan Rudd. We will still actually, we may not because he was in our green room and now he's gone. So 3-position post-race penalty for the 990 for being unable to complete the cool-down lap. And I can't tell you how disappointed we are here, folks, because that changes the whole narrative of the night that was.
Well, it's just like anything, Zach. You know, we love winning a race. We like to see the guys winning, but we don't like to see Rainer winning this way, or someone losing the race this way.
Absolutely not. Now, there's another issue unfolding here, and it's for Tom Heyman. He has been pushed all the way down to 14th. So Dylan Rudd will go to 4th. That makes Rainer Costello, Alex Court, Rehan Leonage your top 3, ladies and gentlemen. Rudd will go 4th. That is a tremendous performance from Rehan Leonage. Ben Morris will be 5th. Matthew Scholes, Blake Warboys, Jamie Dyke, Peter Crossingham, and Cameron Jones make up the top 10. Kisby, take it away.
Now we're just waiting for the page to go. 11th, Dean Power, Dean Reddit. 12th, Mika Limasseria. 13th, Tommy Heyman. 14th, Jordan Pruden. 15th, Dylan Pereira. 16th, Mish Campbell. 17th, Chris Barnes. 18th, Simon Chadwick. 19th, Craig Schultz. 20th. Waiting for the page to change.
Over the page, Lindsay Hobbs, Alan Dawson, David Kirby, Dean Alessi, Brian Cooper, Sam Noble, Michael Angus, Hayden Morris, Jacob Brewer. They were all on the lead lap. Rick Sibra was 1 lap down.
After that, Hayden Norris, Jacob, what did we say? Ash Davis, Robert Christelle, Rod Hollis, Craig Newell, 3 laps down. And then you had Brent Nitschke, Sean McMurray, Lee Davis, 21 laps, 30 laps, and 30 laps for there.
57 minutes, 48 seconds. The race time in the end for Dylan Rudd, but the winner is Rainer Costello in the most extraordinary circumstances you could ever possibly imagine.
Wow.
I'm a little, actually, it's a shame we can't get Dylan Rudd in here to have a chat. Car number 555. I'm just having a look here too. Car number 555 got called to the stewards room by race control post-race as well. So that's Robert Crisdale. I'm just seeing, I'm having a look through all the notes here on the iRacing server to see if Tommy Heyman was penalised internally. or whether he was penalised externally. And it looks like he's been penalised internally, because that penalty didn't come up on our screen until the iRacing screen corrected itself. The iRacing time sheet corrected itself, 38.334 seconds. So he was given a
Wow.
30-second penalty, Tom Heyman, at the end of that race after crossing the line in third position. Actually, 35, my apologies. He has been given by iRacing. So then I don't know, Kisby, whether that makes it null and void, whether the internal race stewards here within the RSRA want to then throw the book at him at it as well for good measure, or whether that'll be suffice. So I think that'll suffice.
Yes, it could be. That will be it. I'm just hearing it in my ear. That will be it. But wow, what a race!
Right out.
They've not easy at all there, mate. But racing, it was just nose to tail racing all the way through. We've got our top three in here, Zach, and hopefully we get Dylan in here as well, because
Yeah,
he
he's on
deserves
his
to come
way.
in as well. And we can, for someone that deserved that win, held off Rayner all night. It was just a bad way to go. As I mentioned before, mate, we don't mind winning, we don't mind losing, but we do not like losing this way. And as a race driver myself, if we've made the wrong decision, then it's all more for us. But it's still
Yeah.
heart wrenching once we get to the end of it. So I'll give it back to you, mate, and you can talk to our drivers.
All right, mate. If you got any questions, chime in as we go.
I will.
Here in
Don't
the
worry about
meantime. Dylan Rudd, mate, that was clinical for 38 laps. It's the 39th that brings you on. Sorry, for 30 laps, I should say. I'm getting last week's distance mixed up with this week. Dylan, that was 30 laps of brilliance from you and Rayner Costello. Unfortunately, the 31st brings you undone. And in a strange degree of irony, the bloke that inherits the win as a result of your three post-race penalty positions, he knows all too well what that feels like. Just talk us through that, please.
Yeah, definitely had lots of pace tonight. Unfortunately, just had a missed fuel calculation and didn't have enough fuel to do the cool down lap, and actually had to save a fair bit in that last stint. So, yeah, a bit of a mistake on my behalf, but that's what it is.
Yeah, we could see Rayner catching you there in the last couple of laps there. Was that you knowing that you were going to run out of fuel very close to the line? And commiserations to you, mate. And it happens to us all. I don't know who you use as your fuel thing, but it happens to every single one of us. And it's just heart-wrenching. Just Zach and I could not believe what was going on. But did you realise that you were going to have to watch it really, really closely right to the end of the stint there?
Yeah, when I dropped on my stop, it dropped me off my jack stands, and it was actually earlier than I expected. I wasn't expecting to drop that early, so I actually sat there for a half second. And then from there, I was a bit iffy of whether I was going to make it, and then yeah, a few laps in, did some calculations and realized I had the fuel save for the rest of the stint.
Yeah, well, according to my sense here, you had a 12.2 and Rayner had oh, it's gone off again now, so I can't take it. But it wasn't that. It was, I think he was at a 13 in that last pit stop. Plus, he overstepped, so he had to reverse back. So we knew you were going to get out in front of him. He couldn't pull the overstick there. So, yeah, commiserations, mate. That was hard luck, but great racing. Absolutely wonderful to watch.
Yeah, thank you.
Hey, Dylan, just stick with us if you don't mind, mate. I'll come back to you in a moment. Let's get to Rayner Costello. Rayner, you know what it's like to bear the brunt of, or feel the wrath of I'll get it right eventually, wear the wrath
Post-race
of
penalties.
the stewards and the post-race penalties there. Sorry, it's been one of those nights, hasn't it? So obviously this isn't the way you like to win a race, but it's at the same time an inch is as good as a mile in the championship fight, and you need a few things to go your way along the way.
Yeah, definitely. It's definitely not the way I wanted to win, but I guess I'll take it. Very bad luck to Dylan. He drove a great race. It's just unlucky to Dylan. He drove a great race. I couldn't get past him. I couldn't find a way around, and yeah, it was a very big surprise when I was coming around. I was saying to my crew chief Daniel, I was like, "Oh yeah, second place is good," and then he said, "Oh, well, you might have first place here because Dylan was going slowly." So his loss is my gain, but yeah, certainly not the way you want to win.
In the end, Dylan, it's lucky that it's only a 3 grid or a 3 place drop, mates. But at the end of the day, when we get to round 12 and you're talking about small margins at the top of the fight, that 6 points might come back to haunt you.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a shame, but it is what it is. Can't do much about it now, but yeah.
Just talk
I
us
think
through the
Zach,
race.
I
Sorry,
think Zach,
continue, go.
yeah, I think Zach, we were talking about in the race. Had they finished the way they were, it would have been Rayner by 1 point for the championship. Now it puts it in a little bit more
Yeah.
a different perspective because you said that 6 points. Now that plays a bit more of a part. Whereas if they'd have finished 1-2 the way they were, it would have been only 1 point. So yeah, it's defining in so many ways. Slight mistakes like that, whether it's crew chief, whether it's driver error, whatever it is, it can have big impacts at the end of a race.
It certainly can at the end of a 12-round season as well.
Yeah.
Hey, Dylan, just talk us through, mate. The race from your standpoint, you and Rayner, there's something about you two at the moment, separated by a coat of varnish and not much more for the majority of the night.
Yeah, so off the start, just fended my position, slotted in behind Rayner, sat behind him for a few laps, and I just felt I had a little bit more pace. I made the move into the chicane from the draft, and then I think it was about a second gap, and it stayed like around a second for most of the stint, and then just tried managing it until obviously the last stop when I underfueled the car and had to save. So yeah.
But that was quite evident, Dylan. Is that you were faster than Rayner in the first half of the lap, but in the second half he was able to come back at you. And I watched it time and time again where that was happening, and a couple of times I saw you hit the grass at the bus stop, and I thought, oh, here we go. So I mean, it's a great effort and great driving by both drivers. Absolutely unbelievable. I'm back into it again, boys.
Hey, Rayner, let me bring you in here, mate. Last time out, because of, well, again, a post-race penalty from Sonoma, and again, running out of fuel on the cooldown lap. So it's a strange degree of irony how this is all playing out. The fact that we're now talking about you being on the winning side of that penalty, not the losing side. You had to start last time we come to Watkins Glen. You reminded me of that last week. And you had to work your way through the field. How much easier was it having virtually a clear racetrack in front of you with the exception of the 990?
Oh, well, it's not really an easier task. I think it's just more of a different one because obviously coming through the pack, you can just pick your way through. But with Dylan and I, very similar pace. He probably had a little bit more pace than I did. But yeah, around Watkins Glen, it's just so hard to get under that sort of 0.6 gap. So once you get in there, the tires start to overheat if you overdrive it, and then yeah, it just made it really hard in that last stint to try and get an overtake done. But yeah, I wouldn't say it's an easier challenge. It's just more of a different challenge.
Indeed, it is. And it was an incredible fight between you pair. What were you thinking as the race was going on, mate? I mean, big picture as far as the championship's concerned, podium finishes are key. But what was holding you back from making an overtaking a move or making an opportunity for yourself to try and get that one leg up that you needed to get the win here? Well, technically at the finish line without the post-race penalty is what I'm meaning.
Oh, we couldn't quite get the drive out of the corners that we wanted and to really set the overtake up. So that'll be something we definitely look at with setup. But yeah, that we'll definitely have to look at that just to sort of get more drive out of the car, out of the corners, and we'll see if we can improve that over the season.
So my little runaway, the question from me in this series is when is band camp? I mean school camp. And are we going to miss any rounds this season because of it?
No, we shouldn't miss any rounds. Should be fine. But yeah, that won't come back to haunt me this season.
Yeah. Oh, that's good, mate. That's good.
All right. Hey, because it is school holidays, I'm just going to keep you around a little bit longer, Rainer, if that's all right.
I'm
You guys,
wondering why he was sticking around.
exactly. You guys stick with me here because I want to bring in Rehan Leonage at this point in time, and then I'll get to Alex Court. Hey, Rehan, unbelievable effort, mate. I mean,
Oh,
yep. Okay.
good stuff.
A couple of penalties paved the way for you, but 2 races in the top tier in Dad's absence. And mate, it's like the Leonage name never left at all. You're on the 3rd step of the podium there,
Unmute
mate.
yourself, Leon.
It's your first podium in the top tier. You must be chuffed.
Yeah. Yeah, I was very, very excited when I saw that Heyman got a drive-through penalty on like one of the last 2 or 3 laps. I was thinking that should hopefully be 4th place, and wasn't too sure if we would get a podium, but yeah, bad luck on you, Dylan. I was watching you in the iRacing server, just watching you slowly crawl across the track. Yeah, and I was very lucky that a lot of other people that were ahead of me earlier in the race were getting penalties. I just had to make sure that I didn't make the same mistake of a pit lane infringement. So yeah,
And
yeah.
Zach, listen to that, mate. There's another Aiden. You got Rehan, Aiden, Mika. Listen to those voices. Such well-mannered young gentlemen. Oh, man.
I know. Hey,
I don't want to race against them, guys, I tell you.
hey, Rehan, just for clarification, come back here, mate, because we're going to talk to you for a little while because this is just an historic sort of moment here. Just for the people that have been following, that may not have necessarily been following you on Wednesday night, but have been impressed with what you've delivered on a Tuesday night here in the last couple of weeks. How old are you?
I'm 11 and
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Come on, go away. Come on, Zach.
I just wanted to put that out there for everybody to hear because it just reminds me of how seriously untalented I am at 20 years older than that.
Aiden's 11.
I
Mika,
know.
he says about 11 too as well. And now Rian, oh, now come on. This is just, guys, you guys have got something to watch out for with it when these guys start getting their feet. Yeah, Dylan, Rainer, Alex, all that. I mean, you're a young too, Rainer, but I tell you what, if they're doing this well at age 11, oh, man, come on.
We're in a lot of trouble. We're in a lot of trouble. Hey, Rayan, let me just bring you back in, mate. The fact of the matter is that you've grabbed your first podium. It's a big confidence booster. Sure, you weren't the fastest car on track there tonight, but circumstances fell the way they did, and the seas parted for you to come through and scoop up the pieces as you went. How did you manage? Because I can hear the excitement in your voice there. How did you manage to contain the excitement and withhold the nerves when you see your name slowly creeping up towards the top of the order? Because I have to say, when I was his age, Kisby, the more excited I got, the happier I got with what was going on, the closer I was to, with all due respect, because we're past 9:30 Eastern, 7:30 Western, you're one step closer to cocking it up, really, to be fair. So, Rehan, how did you balance the nerves and settle yourself down and just focus on the task at hand, mate?
It was very difficult to contain the excitement, but
I bet it was.
I just really had to try and focus. My focus wasn't really there in quali and the first stint, so I really had to get my focus back and managed to do that. And in the second and third stint, my lap times were quite consistent around like 150.4, so I definitely wasn't faster than a lot of the drivers, but I may have been a bit more consistent. So as I was collecting up all of the broken pieces of people getting penalties, I really was getting extra excited, and especially when I came out of the pits for my second pit stop and I noticed that I was fifth place. I was like, I couldn't believe what I was seeing. And
Zach, I can't explain myself that good. Now, come on. Rian, if you can see my screen there, mate, look, That's gold. Well, hang on, there it is there.
Yeah,
That's gold,
absolutely.
I tell you. It's just unreal. I mean,
Absolutely.
I did a race the other night and I was running second and I had the guys coming in behind me and I couldn't hold my composure as good as what you held your composure tonight, mate. So,
Yeah.
big hats off to you.
Hey, Rehan, what about the car control from you earlier as well?
Yeah.
When I can't remember who it was for the life of me, but there was, I think it might, Blake Warboys, was it? Threw it down the inside, going into the boot there. You were sliding through continental drift style. What about the car control from you? So then, I mean, yeah, okay, sure, Alex got past you in the process, but then to save what could have been a monumental shunt and keep yourself in the race, mate. That was the only hairy moment of the night you had, and you handled yourself like a seasoned veteran.
Uh, well, that was definitely something that uh, I didn't just randomly have a skill of catching the car. It grew over time as I was developing my skills uh, early to late last year in MX5. Definitely had a lot of rubbing panels, so uh, always had to get used to catching the car. And I did get dived on a few times in the first stint, like first 5 to 10 laps. So and a little bit of rubbing panels. I had like 4 car contacts, each 0x. So I was
Yeah.
really thankful for that. But yeah, definitely was ruined the tires a little bit, me sliding. But
Top little drive, mate. Top
Oh,
little drive.
I'm sure I'll get some insight into where we are with regards to incident points. Who picks up the bonuses for a clean race? So of course, Rainer picks up the 5 for pole position. So it's 155 points for Rainer tonight out the door. It's 144 for Dylan. Because he'll lose the 6 points there as he drops down. So, by virtue of the fact that it was 2 points coming into this round, Rayner has 11 more tonight. It should be 9 points, but that's just my quick mathematical thinking. I'll have that confirmed very shortly. This leg of the Triple Crown. The Spirit of Tasmania has stepped out of the room at the moment, so let's throw the conversation around here. Alex Court, I want to talk about your race, obviously, very shortly. But firstly, what about the pedigree in the Leonard's gene pool and the fact that you've got teammates like that at 11 years of age coming through and putting both of you on the podium? Extraordinary.
Yeah, you're not wrong. First of all, I just want to say commiserations to Dylan. That was unlucky there, man. And secondly, the way Rahan just explained himself there, that's just blown me away. It's so mature for such a young guy. It's incredible.
Absolutely, it is. And it's great to have all you guys here. We'll throw the conversation around. We've got another half hour to play with here. Alex, talk us through your race, mate, because at times it looked like you had your work cut out for you. At times it looked like you were a little bit lonely, but you had the best of both worlds in the end. And by virtue of the fact that Dylan cops a 3rd place, Heyman drops 11 spots with that 35-second penalty, you walk away with second. You said you wanted to be on the podium tonight. That's probably not the way you wanted to do it, but you'll take it anyway.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, definitely not the way I wanted to get a podium, but I think maybe every week I'm going to have to send you a message just before the race starts.
I love it. Hey, just quickly too, one thing I haven't done tonight is send a bit of a shout out to Nathan Brown because he's had a hospital trip with a couple of bent and twisted fingers, and he's not going to be in the server for a few weeks, but obviously we look forward to having him back soon, and I hope he's tuning in tonight. We watched a replay here at the race again, Alex. I mean, you talk about racecraft, you got plenty of that. If only you could master qualifying now, mate.
Yeah, thanks for bringing that up.
No worries.
Yeah, look, after last week, you know, I've set the mindset to qualify top 10. So as long as I qualify top 10, then I'm happy. So I think tonight I qualified 8th. So I was pretty happy with that. So I was reasonably relaxed in quali tonight. Whereas usually I'm very stressed and tense and yeah.
Now, on that subject, talking about clean races, we mentioned it with Rehan. Matt Scholes, Peter Crossingham, Dean Reddit, Dylan Pereira, all with clean race bonuses. And Pereira gets lucky there because despite the fact that he's visited pit lane with a penalty, he still gets an extra 5 points for his trouble with all of that. So, yeah, quite an interesting night. Actually, just on that, I want to run through some stats here. Peter Crossingham, 11 positions gained. Alex Court with 6. Jamie Dyke with 8. Well, actually, no. Peter Crossingham will be 12 now. Jamie Dyke will be 9 because Tom Heyman drops catapults down the order. Dean Power, Dean Reddit will both grab 11 position gains each. Mikalima Surya only gained 1 in the end. Big losses, Jordan Pruden, Dylan Pereira. They dropped down the order 12 positions. Mitch Campbell gained 17 despite starting 34th. He finished 17th. If only the race was twice as long, he might have been a chance. Chris Barnes, 10 positions gained. Craig Schultz, 7. Lindsay Hobbs, 8. Oh, 8, I should say, rather. So to Alan Dawson, Dean Alessi with 11 positions gained. But a lot of losses in there as well. Quite a few drivers ended up out of business in the end there, retiring from proceedings, including Robert Crisdale, Sean McNamara, Brenton Nitschke. Yeah, the list goes on and on and on. Chris Kisby, the Spirit of Tasmania, back in the seat at the moment. Anything you want to ask these drivers before we press forward, mate?
Oh, I think we pretty much covered everything there. Great drive from Alex, of course, as we expect every week. The drivers that we see performing week after week after week in last season have brought it back again this one. I know Alex is fighting against the cold like I am. We have a bit of an Arctic blast coming through Tasmania at the moment, so we are chattering away. I was sitting in there driving with the wheels shaking from side to side there the other day, but hopefully he puts another log on the fire and gets nice and warm. But no, great racing tonight again from all the drivers that we've got in here. Dylan, Alex, Rainer, Rehan. I can't get over Rehan's age and driving this good. I cannot handle a car like this.
No.
I tell you.
Yep.
I was going to come back and drive the Dev Series in this, but it still collides with my up-and-comers on a Wednesday night. So at this stage, I still can't get in and race on Dev seasons.
I will vouch for Kisby there and say that he's not, urinating in your pockets there, boys. He's absolutely dead serious. And I say that because he makes the mistake of sitting in to be an in-race reporter whenever we do the supercars, and it brings him out every time. Now,
you know what, Zach? They're all telling me not to drive with you in my ear.
Yeah, that's probably sound advice, I would have thought. Hey, by the way, Mikalima Surya, here's some news for you, Kisby. Did the race on baseline setup because he couldn't get the setup to work, unfortunately. So he's on baseline. So that's what brought Mika undone tonight, but he still brought him home in 12th or 13th position, I should say, just ahead of Tommy Heyman in the end there. So let's try and dissect all of that. Dylan Rudd, how much fire in the belly do you have? I was going to say fuel in the fire, but that'd be adding insult to injury. Fire in the belly for you after tonight to come back and return to the top split, or the top spot, I should say, next week when we get to Laguna Seca, given that it should have been 2 from 2 tonight.
Gonna have to try looking at those clean race bonuses and maybe even those pole position extra point bonuses. So that'll be something and obviously try and be consistent on the results to try and make that little margin back up. And
Rainer, I mean, you know exactly where Dylan's coming from there, because at the end of the day, it was those clean race bonuses, it was those pole positions that had Lasif winning over you after 17 rounds by just the solitary point last season.
Yeah, it all adds up, because when you think about it, getting clean race bonus every race over the 12 rounds can add up to over about 60 points, and then if you get pole positions on top of that, so every point counts. It'll just be about being consistent this season, getting those bonuses here and there, and have to see how it all pans out.
Now, Rehan Leonage, I want to bring you back in at this point in time, mate, because we kind of know where the likes of Rainer and Alex and Dylan would go with their tyre stop strategy here. Did you take tyres in the first stop or the second stop, young man? Because at the end of the day, your second stop was very late in business here.
Tyres in the first stop because
Ooh.
because of the safety car.
Yep.
We had enough fuel we go to almost halfway in the race. Then we thought wrap tyres about halfway, and then do the last half on last few laps on all the tyres. It wasn't actually too bad. It felt really good at the start.
That's
All
a
right.
bad
Oh,
strategy.
that's interesting, isn't it?
Um,
Very interesting.
Yeah, it is very interesting because I want to bring Alex Cord in and Rainer Costello and Dylan Rudd at this point in time and talk about tyre issues. Cordy, how was the tyre wear at your end, mate?
Yeah, it wasn't too bad. Yeah, it was a struggle, but you know, look after them the best you can. So yeah, I took tyres on the second stop. So.
Rainer, I was discussing with Chris Kisby here in commentary, because of the fuel mileage you could get to each of those full tanks, it was going to mean either we saw some guys come in on the end of lap 17 and do the 13-lap run home, 18, 19, whatever, or we'd see some people leave it very late in the stint and do a 4-lap sprint home. In the end, you went for the former option. You decided to do a very short second stint, so I can only assume you took the fresh rubber for the run to the checkered flag.
Yeah, just the usual strategy.
Exactly
That's
right.
what we said.
Read
We
it
said
like
learnt it.
clockwork.
We learnt it last season, didn't we?
I'll have to change it up so you don't know what's going on.
I know. Come on.
Don't make the job any harder than it is.
Yeah.
Alex Court, did you go tyres second stop, mate?
Yeah, sure did. Yep.
And Dylan Rudd?
Yep, second stop.
And it didn't look like
So
tyre wear was
Rayner
too
was
much
the
of an
only
issue
one.
for those.
Yeah,
Yeah, Rayner
Rayner.
was the only one that went first
That
stop.
just shows you how better driver Rian is compared to the other guys, because he did the whole second half of that race on worn tyres, and you guys had to change them to stay on track.
Oh, thanks.
Just hold for a sec there, guys, because I was just getting a message in my ear, but I couldn't hear it. JP, what was that?
No tyres next
Oh.
round.
So there's a teaser coming from our director here that there'll be no tyres next round. So basically what you start on is what you finish on. Geez, that could make things interesting. Has iRacing developed tyre failures yet? I'm not sure. Now, the next round is Laguna Seca. Let me get to that in just a moment. Dylan Rudd and Rainer Costello, just going through the motions with you guys. The tyre wear for you, Dylan, I mean, it didn't look like to be too much of an issue because you were holding your own. The only issue, as you've already detailed, was that fuel mileage. Just an extra little splash there in that second stop would have been enough. But how was the tyres, mate?
I was very balanced on the worn tyres, so yeah, have a setup, so it should be good for next week as well.
Indeed. All right. Oh, look, such a great race, such a cracking scrap. But for these guys, such a clean race. So I think we've tackled all the real issues that we had to tackle out of all of that. So let's start to look towards next week, because next week is a huge challenge. It's a short track, and it's going to be a 45-lap race, if you don't mind, ladies and gentlemen. Laguna Seca, the venue.
So technical.
How good's this going to be? Rehan Leonage, as the youngest in the group and one of the best well-spoken pre-teens we've ever had in our SimShed broadcasting coverage. Let's talk to you first about this. Laguna Seca, how much advice are you going to take from Dad about how to navigate your way around this tricky track?
Obviously.
Yeah, you better say a lot.
I'll definitely go through.
Just having trouble hearing you there, mate. The signal's just dropping out a little bit. We'll see if we can't get you back in a moment. Rainer Costello, Laguna Seca, such a historical circuit. It's steeped in such tradition and history and historic moments. I can't wait for this race. It's the first time we've gone to Laguna Seca for the RSRA or the NTS this year, and there are a couple of very critical points of this racetrack that could trigger 1, 2, maybe 3 safety cars.
Yeah, definitely. It's a very, very tight track for the supercar. So I think definitely finding track position will be key for that. Yeah, it's definitely a tight track, hard to overtake on. Oh, yeah, it's hard to overtake on. So we might see a few incidents, might spice it up a little.
Does the corkscrew scare you?
No,
No?
Nah,
It
nothing
scares
scares
me
this
every
bloke.
time I come up to it.
Nothing
It's a sim.
scares this bloke. He's only young.
Yeah, I suppose.
Hey, Dylan Rudd, let's bring you in here. Of course, it's a tricky little circuit. There are no shortage of overtaking opportunities, no margin for error. But given how evenly matched you and Rainer Costello have been on both tracks thus far, how important is getting some pre-race mileage here?
Yeah, definitely. I think qualifying will be important as there are not a lot of passing opportunities. So I think trying to start on the front row will be key, and yeah, be a close race as we have seen for the first 2 rounds. So it should be good.
Same to you,
Oh.
Dylan. Does the corkscrew scare you?
A little bit sometimes.
I tell you what, Kisby, trying to get, I mean, the fields this season have been superb already. Trying to get 37, 38 through there on lap 1. Oh, bring it on.
Oh, I
We
tell you,
cannot wait.
it's just one of those tracks, Zach, that really, for 3/4 of the track, I'm fine. But there's one particular part of the track that scares me every single time, and if I get it right, it feels absolutely fantastic when you bring three. You got 3 wheels and one wheel up and 2 wheels up as you come around the bottom of that corkscrew. But when you get it wrong, and you're into the wall. I tell you.
It's one of those racetracks that really separates the men from the boys. So, Alex Court, on that note, I mean, we've been talking about your racecraft, your qualifying throughout the course of the season. What's your preparation for next week going to be, please?
Yeah, hit it hard as every week. So try and get the hours up around those 6 to 10 hours of practice. So yeah.
Is that all?
Yep.
Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
And of course, at the moment too, I mean, let's just remember here that there are a couple of people that are going to have the advantage of being stuck in lockdown situations this week, as far as race prep is concerned. So it's not the Tasmanians.
No.
Rainer Costello, on that note, how much of a leg up is that for you? The fact that school holiday plans have all been shelved, put on ice. You can just sit in the sim all day long and get ready for round 3, as they put it.
Oh, it's definitely disappointing today as it was announced that Queensland Kart Championship was going to be postponed, so we were really looking forward to that. We've got a good chance this year at doing something good with that. But yeah, obviously that'll give some more time to prepare for next week. But yeah, it's not ideal.
Not ideal for anybody at all. I'll get back to that a little bit later on. I haven't got political for 2 hours. We haven't had time.
Keep it that way.
Yeah. Good luck. Now, let's just talk our way through here and start to wrap things up. I mean, it's too early in the championship to know definitively how it's going to play out. But Rainer, the fact that you've put a 2nd and a 1st on the board to start the season, it's a 1st and a 4th for Dylan. You have exactly set out and done what you wanted to do, in the sense that you have started far better than you did last season. You must take a tremendous amount of confidence from that young man.
Yeah, I know exactly what not to do now. So, yeah, it'll just be making sure we consolidate each round, get as many points as we can, not take unnecessary risks, but also at the same time go for opportunities when we have them. So, yeah, that'll be the strategy moving forward.
Indeed, it will be. Dylan Rudd, I mean, nights like that can knock your confidence a little bit, but how do you bounce back? What's the key to just pushing that to one side and focusing on next week?
Yeah, definitely confirming, doing a bit more preparation for fuel numbers for next round, and not trying to be in that situation for a 3rd round in a row. And yeah, I think we've got good pace, so got a good setup. So I think it's just a bit of pit stop issues has been the main problem at the moment. So if we can figure them out, I think I should be good.
Do you use crew chief, or do you have a live crew chief, or what happens there, Dylan?
I was using JRT. Actually,
yep.
yeah, for that race, JRT said for me to put can't remember, like 18 or 20 liters in. I put 4 extra liters in, and I was still under.
Yeah.
So not sure what happened there.
Yep. Yeah, it's a common problem with crew chief and JRT. And I know I've forgotten to add that extra to what they recommend due to yellow flags or whatever's happening on the racetrack at the same time. But I've had the problem in the past where they've just underfueled me, and I haven't been able to work it. I'm normally got Zach in my ear with the other commentators saying, "Well, have you got enough fuel there, Kisby?" And I say, "Well, it tells me I've got 4 laps," and they said, "Yeah, that's about right."
Yep. Well, and it's interesting how much of an advantage that can be. As much as it is a distraction having us in your earpiece, it can also be a leg up
Oh,
in
it can
terms
be,
of
it
fuel
can be.
strategy. Yeah, it
Yeah.
depends on whether you can drain us out for long enough to focus on the task at hand rather than get distracted
Well,
by
that's
all the
exactly
rubbish
right.
we're talking
I've
at the
got
same
one
time.
last question for
Yeah,
Rehan there,
mate.
Zach, and that's young Aidan Schultz. He's got a karting background in GSRC. Young Riley
Correct.
Windsor. He's got a karting background
Yep.
in GSRC. Rayner's got a karting background. From what I can gather, he's doing karting
That's
at
right.
the moment as
Yep,
well.
yep.
So, Rian, have you got a karting background as well? And has that helped prepare you, or are you fully sim only?
I've done a few years of karting when I was like
There you go.
6,
See?
7 or 8 years old.
Yeah.
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 But yeah,
Now it makes sense.
I don't really think much of that has helped me because like over the years that I haven't done it, like that I've had like just sim racing, I've gone a bit rusty from what I was in karting, but
Yeah.
I've definitely like my skills are a lot better than what they were when I was still doing karting. Yeah, and
They're two big different things, aren't they, Rian?
yeah, especially with the V8 supercar. You know,
Oh, yeah. Well, it's hard enough for me getting the Formula V round a track, let alone anything else. But, yeah, all credit to you, mate. All
Well,
credit
well,
to you. Who's
that's
laughing
actually
at me in the background?
not me. I was going to say that's a good thing, though, Kisby.
It is. It is.
That you mentioned that because I mean, a lot of people won't appreciate the line of questioning and saying, "Well, hang on, what's a car got to do with the supercar?" They're totally different, but it's about the seat time, isn't it? It's about
Seat time,
the
racecraft, yeah.
and all
Awareness
the.
around you.
I mean, obviously, they're the things that you adjust to accommodate the speed difference. So, I mean, reflex actions and all that sort of stuff, these guys have got that in spades. And young Rehan, I mean, for an 11-year-old to be on the podium in the Premier Series here in the
V8,
RSRA,
yeah.
and it's only round 2, I mean, what sort of history are we going to make this season?
Oh, it's going to be unreal, mate. I mean, just going back to that karting there is I've seen Aiden come through up and comers. I've seen Riley come through up and comers. I've watched Rayner last year. Now, when they first came into up and comers,
Yep.
their racing was so different from the time that they left. Now, you could see the change from bump, squeeze yourself through, push your way through from the karting background where they sort of, they're in on their face, they're rubbing all the time. They take chances that you wouldn't otherwise. But by the end of the season, I noticed that they were taking more sense, but the karting was still there. They knew where the hole was going to be, but they were making better decisions as to whether to take that hole or not. And don't think that your karting didn't have anything to do with how good you are at the moment, Rian. I reckon it has, because it gives you that awareness, and they've really got to know where everybody is around you.
Oh, yeah.
Even though it's a different kettle of fish when you're trying to pass, but you've still got to have that spatial awareness around you. So that the karting has a lot to do with the way these drivers drive these cars.
And on the subject of that spatial awareness, I mean, in karting, you don't have rear view mirrors. In
No.
the sim, I mean, you're not in the same room. You're not. You're on the same track, but you're not there in the sense that you are in the real world
And
with
unless
all
you've
the
got
guys
VR,
around you.
unless you've got VR, you cannot see the car beside you. Even with those big wide screens or a triple screen, you really can't see what's beside you. Now, in my VR, I can actually look out the window to the right or the left, and I can look back through the hole in my little seat to see if there's a car left or right of me. So any of the viewers that have watched us on any other broadcast where they're watching me and they can see out through with the VR and my fly goggles and all that sort of stuff, I can actually see, and I've become a better driver for it, as everybody said last season. I'm so hard to get past. What they call me, the Perkins of racing. Yeah, my car is 5 times wider than what the car actually is.
That's it.
But yeah, it's knowing that they're there. But then if you talk to Grant Gill, I slide into him all the time. But yeah, it's just the way it is. And I know that they're there. Whereas if with a single screen, when I was doing the single screen, I could not see beside me, even when I hit the left and right button to have a look left and right, which I never did because I'm not that good. The difference between single screen, triple screens, curved screen, and VR is just absolutely phenomenal. And one night when we're doing broadcasts or something like that, I'll give you an aspect, the viewers an aspect of that they may not get from any of the other racing that we'll go through, but we'll work on that, Zach.
All right, if JP could throw it back into full screen mode for me, please. We'll have a look at the championship points at this point in time and have a look at how things stand after round 2 of the RSR Race Super Series. Rainer Costello by 11 points over Alex Court. Wow.
That was a big letdown tonight for Paul Dillon.
Yeah, I think I said 9, didn't I? So, but again, of course, I'm getting I'm having a look at last week. No, it was 2 points behind was Rainer Costello. So these are all provisional at the moment, of course, ladies and gentlemen. But it's 303 plays, 292 apiece for Court and Rudd. Then, but that makes sense in Rudd's aspect. There's no doubt about that. So 155 plays 148, 144, 148 and 144, 292. So yeah, it was my maths that was out. That's all good. So 303 plays 292. Incorrect use of comms for triple eight gets a post-race penalty. And that was on lap. That was 31. Oh wow, 10-point post-race penalty. That was on the post-race lap. That was on the cool-down lap.
Wow.
So the carnage keeps wreaking havoc here tonight, no doubt about that.
I'm just going to mute Alex for the moment.
Wow. So what you're seeing there, folks, forget about it because it's all going to change. However, if this is all right, it'll be 303, Dylan Rudd on 292, and Alex Court on 282. Wow. Matthew Scholes 275, Dean Reddit 271, Dean Power 270, so too Rehan Leonage. Then Cameron Jones 266, Jordan Pruden 258, and Dylan Pereira 257. That's the top 10. Let's go over the page.
Look at that.
Just 1 point back is Blake
11 years
Warboys.
old, top 10.
Oh no, Mitch Campbell 250, 246 for Peter Crossing and Alan Dawson 236. So to Mika Lima Surya, they're the top 15 at the moment. We'll keep that. We'll let that keep scrolling for you, folks. There are a lot of drivers with a lot of points here at this point in time. All right, Alex Court, what was the incorrect use of comms? Do you know?
No.
Okay, copy that. Oh.
Yet to find out.
When you do, let me know because I've got no idea either. And we've just seen that come up, and as soon as I saw it, like I went for whatever reason. I know you're 888, but I was like, hang on, no, surely not. So I'm scrolling through.
It was April 1st.
Yeah, I'm scrolling through trying to find a number. No, 888 is Alex Court. You got that right. Oh
That's right.
No, lap 31. The post-race cool-down lap procedure there. So there you go, Kisby. 2 of the biggest stories of the night, and we waited until the checkered flag had waved.
Yeah, the race is never over and until the fat lady sings, as they say. And generally, that's 24 hours after the race.
Where is Susan Boyle on that note? We're not done. We've got plenty to look forward to here on the platforms of Stimshed Broadcasting. But before I do any of that, we will get these guys to thank all their sponsors in just a moment. But I mean, yeah, that's got to hurt for so many reasons for some of these guys tonight. I mean, Court will keep his second place finish, but he cops a 10-point penalty. Alex, I mean, the podium's great. The 10-point penalty hurts, but it's a double-edged sword because if it had gone the other way around and you'd been given a 3-place penalty, all of a sudden Dylan's back on the podium. So, in a bad lose-lose situation, which do you prefer? Would you have preferred a point penalty or a place penalty, mate?
Honestly, neither.
That's exactly right. That's exactly good call, mate. Good call.
but if you had to take one, because there's no choice of taking none.
Oh, yeah, I don't know.
All right,
Yeah,
copy that.
see,
Yep, sorry.
you can't
No, no.
push him on it, mate. You cannot push a driver on that. They're never going to give you the answer that you want.
Kisby, I reckon I'll get an answer to this about 30 seconds after we get off air, but that's another story for another day. Let's go around the room and wrap up on that note. Dylan Rudd with fourth place. Since you're in here, you took the checkered flag first, mate. You got a post-race
Thanks
penalty,
for coming
but
in.
we want you to thank whoever you want to thank while you're here anyway, mate, please.
Yeah, cheers. I'd just like to thank all the guys from 95 Sim Sport, SRT Australia, Racecraft Simulations, iClean, Solar, Ipswich and Brisbane, Boss Surveillance Systems, AD, 3D Printing Services, Cutting Edge Tracks, Racing News, Custom Air Protection, and RSW Graphics.
All right, mate. Rehan Leonage on the podium, making history in SimShed Broadcasting's NTS Championship, and then also the RSRAs as well, mate. The floor is yours.
I'd like to thank SimShed Broadcasting, Nationwide Technology Systems, Goodyear Auto Care Warana, Dragon RC, DSL Welding Services, Abritzi Australia, VR Covers, Cars for Hope, Racing with Autism Australia, Blue Stampede Labour Hire, and I'd also like to thank you guys up here in the commentating box, and thank you, JP, for running the series. It's a lot of fun. And I'd like to thank my dad for being my crew chief, and my friends and family who were watching tonight.
Excellent. Well done.
Congratulations, mate. Superb performance.
Well done.
And apologies. I meant to say SuperSeries, full stop, not naming all the different sponsors we've had along the way. But he's made history in the top flight of the SuperSeries, and we cannot wait to see what he's got for the next 10 rounds.
Oh, yeah.
Alex Court, the floor is yours.
Yeah, so start off with Racing with Autism Australia, all sorts of disability services, SimShed Broadcasting, Nationwide Technology Services, Goodyear Auto Care Warana, Dragon RC, DSL Welding, Abritzi Australia, VR Cover, Cars for Hope, Blue Stampede Labour Hire, Gary Bradshaw for tuning in every week from New Zealand, all my teammates, Aaron Hayden, my engineer, and my family, and also you guys for putting on an awesome broadcast. Yeah. Cheers.
You're most welcome. We've got one more port of business to get to before the end of the broadcast, boys, so stick around. Rainer Costello, in the meantime, though, the floor is yours.
I'd like to thank Coghlan Race Engineering for the setups, and Daniel Coghlan for helping me during the races, feeding me advice and crew chiefing for me. It's a great help, and I really appreciate it. F Suicide, Total IT Solutions Brisbane, Bruzy Simware, and I'd like to thank you guys for the great commentary, my mum and dad for all their support, and the volunteers that are in race control, and you guys in the broadcast for making it all possible.
Oh,
We
two
appreciate
mentions
that,
there,
mate.
Zach. We're doing real well, aren't we?
We are actually doing really well for a change. Although, can I just say, my heart goes out to including me, the 12 odd million people in lockdown at the moment. Because, but at the same time, Kisby, I had that little bit of a surreal feeling as I walked into the office tonight. I was like, well, Christ, this is what got me through COVID last year. Why not again this year? We've got
That's
another
exactly
lockdown.
right.
I got two sim racing broadcasts in the 4 nights that we're in lockdown. Yeah, it's quite unfortunate.
It's
But
all good for you.
what really irks me,
Yeah,
One-
all right. Moving on.
no. What really irks me is that we had 50,000 people sit shoulder to shoulder at State of Origin on Sunday night. I mean, it would have been. Didn't matter whether there was a crowd or not. Queensland may as well have not even taken the field for the second. Sorry.
Exactly.
New South Wales could have gone home at halftime, and Queensland still wouldn't have been able to find the try line. But what really irks me about that is 2 days after 50,000 people were sitting shoulder to shoulder when there was already a risk of the virus spreading because of cases that were already known and documented, they let that happen. And unfortunately, they won't pay a price for it. I'm talking about the Premier, the Deputy Premier, and the Chief Medical Officer. But here we are in lockdown yet again. Third one of the year in Queensland, third one of the year in WA. New South Wales in an extreme 2-week one. Victoria's had 2. I mean, fair
Northern
dinkum. When
Territory's
will
on
the
a
madness?
3-day lockdown.
Northern Territory's in one. When will the madness end? In the
And no,
chronological.
you can't all migrate to Tasmania.
No,
okay?
exactly right.
Stay
There's not
out.
enough room.
Stay away.
The chronological timeline of lockdowns. I mean, the first 6 months of the year, 3 each in Western Australia and Queensland. Clubhouse leaders at the moment of the race that you don't want to be winning. Anyway, let's have a look at the points for the Triple Crown if we can, because this was round one of the DSL Welding Services Triple Crown here, with big thanks to Rehan Leonage, Rainer Costello, Dylan Rudd, and Alex Court as well. He's off to race control to have a chat to them at the moment. The other boys are still here. Rainer Costello, 155 points. Rehan Leonage, 146. Matthew Scholes, 145. Dylan Rudd, 144. Now, my only thing is that Dylan pocketed 150 last week, didn't he? So with 150 and 144, he will actually be on 294 in the championship. So that's the only typo. JP said, I hope I got it right. That'll be the only typo. And it'll have a 12-point advantage over Alex Court now, who got that 10-point penalty tonight, but that's still subject to appeal because he's gone to have a chat to race control about it. Ben Morris, 142. Peter Crossing, 139. Alex Court, 138. So too Blake Royal Boys and Jamie Dark, 130-16. Reddit rounds out the top 10 on 133 points. Rainer, the double. It's well and truly alive now, mate. You've just got to keep it on the track during the next 2 legs of the Triple Crown and the other, what have we got? 8 rounds of the championship that don't count towards the Triple Crown, and it could well be the double whammy for you.
Yeah, well, I'd say now that we've gotten off to a nice start, it'll just be maintaining consistent results, making sure I prepare each week for the races and bring it home.
Well done, mate. Guys, thank you so much for your time tonight. We've done a little bit of overtime here in the end, Chris Kisby, but fair dinkum. There's been a lot to try and untangle and unravel in all of that tonight. Well done, you guys. Go and enjoy the rest of your school holidays if that's even possible, given the lockdown. Well done to you, Dylan Rudd, as well. Well done to Alex Court. Great result there from all of them. And Chris Kisby, bloody nice to have you back in the booth too, mate. Well done to you.
Bloody nice to be back here, mate. Just my last thing on the lockdowns up there. It does affect all the lockdowns in other states. Does affect the in Tasmania here. We're very tourism based. And if you are over here, come out, have a coffee. I run a coffee van, and we do rely on tourists to be out and about in the state. So it does affect us, even though we're not in lockdown here. So, if you're there, if you're in lockdown, do it. Once you're out of it, come down, visit us, and get us all back on track again. It's really bad because it's a school time, and we do rely on school holidays, especially now that we can't have international visitors. So, it's a small state that relies heavily on tourism, and it does affect us all. You guys might think it's only affecting you up there, but it's not.
Interesting to note as well, in the entire pandemic, 4 cases in the heart of Ipswich, with the 4th being confirmed today, in a population pressing 250,000, and yet we've got a mask mandate for the next 2 weeks. I'm happy to stay home. No doubt about that. Hey, well done tonight, everybody. Great stuff there. Quickly updating Wimbledon. I was talking earlier about Alex de Minaur being 2 sets to 1, 2 sets to love down. It's now 2 sets to 1. He managed to win a tiebreaker in the 3rd set, 7-6. So he has forced a 4th set there with Quarter. Hopefully might be able to force a 5th. And the Demon is on track at the championships to pull off a miraculous comeback.
Clue there, Zach.
If he can do that. In the meantime, Ash Barty's about to take the centre court as well. So the Barty party, the Ipswich girl, about to start her Wimbledon campaign. Tune in on 9gem and then 9's Wide Water Sports through Channel 9 for all of that, 3 to 5 a.m. tomorrow morning. Let's look ahead here on the platforms of SimShed Broadcasting, because aside from the Rugby Internationals, the State of Origin, Wimbledon and the Tour de France, there's so much to look forward to here as well. Tomorrow night, 8:20 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time, the Super 2E Series. I'm going to jump in the booth tomorrow night and have some fun with Matt Davis for that, and looking forward to it immensely. That will be a nice way to end the month of June.
Hey, Zach.
Yes, Kisby.
Don't tell Matt, but I might pop in too.
Okay, copy that. Hey, the more the merrier. The Super 2E Series, if it produces anything like what the Super Series is producing, that will be well worth the price of admission tomorrow night. from 8:20 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time back here at Watkins Glen. Again, another 30-lap race there for you. Weekend Warriors Cup car racing. We're heading towards the second half of the season. I think it's round 21 this Saturday night, 7:20 Australian Eastern Standard Time. Aidan Schultz will be with you for the call. Who knows? Because of lockdown and whatever else, I may be able to be here for that one, but I'm also waiting for confirmation on something else. So it may be a case of no harm, no foul. But I will pop into the Weekend Warriors at respective times throughout the course of the rest of the season when I am home and available and able to on a Saturday night. It is a little bit frustrating. My heart goes out to the people in Dalby who were looking forward to a 4-day motocross event this weekend starting Thursday. It's not in the lockdown zone, but many of the competitors are in the lockdown zone, so I can't see that one going ahead. They'd already lost competitors from New South Wales. Then they dropped commentary because they couldn't justify having me there for so few competitors. But that's the second time this year that the COVID lockdown has coincided with their event and ruin plans there. I was looking forward to the road trip, but now I'll enjoy a bit of my off-season from the GSRC at home on the couch instead. And on that note, I'm off to watch tonight's episode of Home and Away. Looking forward to it immensely. Yes, okay, Kisby, merry-go-round. I can see you telling me to wrap up and shut up. So I'll do that on that note. Mate, thank you to you. Enjoy the rest of your night down there in Tassie. Thank you to you at home as well. Controversy, drama, action at the end.
We got it all.
2 post-race penalties and Tommy Heyman getting one on the last couple of laps as well. Completely changed the shape of the top 3 in the end there. But it was, in the end, Rainer Costello from Alex Court and Rehan Leonage in leg 1 of the DSL Welding Triple Crown, round 2 of season 2 of RSRA Super Series Racing in 2021. We've enjoyed it immensely. We hope you have as well, can't you tell? It's 7 minutes overtime and we're having an absolute ball here. On behalf of Chris Kisby, JP and the team, I'm Zach Caban. Thanks so much for your company, everybody. See you tomorrow night for the Super 2E series. Until then, bye for now.